Namaskar, good evening. You are watching Rajya Sabha television. I am Smriti Rastogi with News Tonight. Let's begin the bulletin with the top headlines. System needed to be shaken up, says Finance Minister Arun Jaitley about demonetization decision. On the second anniversary counts among its benefits formalization and digitization of the economy, bringing back black money stashed abroad, financial inclusion of weaker sections and expanding tax base. Former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh says exercise was ill-advised. Second Maoist attack in Chhattisgarh's Dantewada district in last 8 days. CISF Jawan and 4 civilians killed as extremists target a bus with explosive device. 2 people injured. Incident comes 4 days before polling on the region. Union Cabinet gives in principal approval for development, operation and management of 6 airports on PPP model. Airports at Ahmedabad, Jaipur, Lucknow, Guwahati, Thiruvananthapuram and Mangalore. BJP releases third list of 32 candidates for Madhya Pradesh Assembly elections, 16 candidates in fifth list of Congress. In neighbouring Chhattisgarh, campaigning peaks for first phase. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Congress President Rahul Gandhi to address rallies tomorrow. And in the China Open Badminton Tournament, Kidambi Srikanth and PV Sindhu advance in men and women's quarterfinals. Chirag Shetty and Satwik Sairaj reach doubles pre-quarterfinals. Our top focus tonight on the second anniversary of the note ban exercise in 2016. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley said it resulted in increasing the tax base, formalization of economy and prompting the government to earmark more resources for the poor and infrastructure development. The opposition parties, however, insisted that it was an ill-advised step.
On the second anniversary of the demonetization decision of the government, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley said the move resulted in formalization of the economy and increased the country's tax base. This, he said, helped the government to earmark more resources for the poor and infrastructure development.
Today, we've completed 2 years after the Prime Minister announced the historic step of demonetization of the high-value currency. Obviously, it was required because high-value currency occupied almost 86% of India's cash currency. India was predominantly a cash-dominated economy. And a cash-dominated economy suffers from many challenges. Cash has anonymity. Its owner is not known to the system. Therefore, it prevents a formalization of the economy. Cash evades taxes, the result of which was that India's taxation base, both in direct taxes and indirect taxes, was very narrow. Cash goes directly opposite to the global trend of digitization of financial transactions. So transactions take place outside the banking system. And it's a cumbersome process to handle. It encourages black money.
Finance Minister said the criticism that almost the entire cash money got deposited in the banks post-demonetization is ill-informed. He clarified confiscation of currency was not the objective of demonetization. Instead, the decision was taken to usher in the formal economy and make holders of money pay tax. He asserted that in the first 4 years of the NDA government, the number of people filing income tax returns has gone up from 3.8 crore in May 2014 to 6.86 crore.
Demonetization was a key step. You had anonymous amount of cash currency operating in the system, mainly through high value currency. people were compelled to make deposits. Our object was not to confiscate their resources or money, but to find out who is keeping an illegitimate non-tax paid money. Deposit in the banks ended the anonymity of this money. Its owner got identified. And about close to 18 lakh such assessees whose deposits were disproportionate to their declared income were identified.
In a blog post on Facebook, the finance minister explained the impact of demonetization on personal income tax. He wrote, personal income tax collections were higher in financial year 2018-19 till 31st October 2018 compared to the previous year by 20.2%. Even in the corporate tax, the collections have been 19.5% higher. From 2 years prior to demonetization, direct tax collections have increased 6.6% and 9% respectively. In the next 2 years post-demonetization, the increase was 14.6%, part of the year before impact of demonetization in 2016-17, and an increase of 18% in the year 2017-18, wrote Arun Jaitley. The finance minister further said the system needed to be shaken up in order to make India move from cash to digital transactions. Post-demonetization, the impact on government's digital transaction initiative UPI was noticeable as it saw a significant jump, with transactions growing from 0.5 billion in October 2016 to 598 billion in September 2018. UPI was launched in 2016, involving real-time payments between two sets of mobile holders. According to Arun Jaitley, the share of indigenously developed payment system of Unified Payments Interface and RuPay card have reached 65% of the payments done through debit and credit cards. The value of Bhim transactions also went up significantly post-demonetization, thereby giving a fillip to government's efforts to expand the digital payment space, wrote the finance minister. Bhim is currently used by 1.25 crore people. The value of Bhim transactions has gone up from 0.2 billion in September 2016 to 70.6 billion in September 2018. The share of Bhim transactions in overall UPI transactions was at about 48% in June 2017.
Once monies went into the banks because of this debt, immediately the deposits in the mutual funds increased because these were then deposited by people into the mutual funds, which was used for more productive areas of the economy. And this helped the whole system in generating economic activity.
While the finance minister highlighted the benefits of the note ban move, former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh described it as an ill-fated and ill-thought exercise. In a statement, the senior Congress leader said the havoc unleashed by demonetization on the Indian economy as well as the society is now evident to everyone. Former Finance Minister P. Chidambaram called the note ban exercise a money laundering scheme.
Today is November 8, the second anniversary of the infamous demonetization. As you have reported in the past, none of the three objectives declared by the Prime Minister on November 8, 2016 was achieved. Demonetization did not put an end to generation or use of black money.
However, the World Bank had said in April that the Indian economy appeared to have recovered from the temporary disruptions caused by demonetization and the introduction of the GST. The World Bank had said the country was projected to grow by 7.3% in 2018 and 7.5% in 2019, but pointed out that despite growth, India was not creating enough jobs. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
In one of the decisions taken, the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs on Thursday approved strategic disinvestment of 100% Government of India's equity in the Dredging Corporation of India. In some other decisions, Cabinet gave in-principle approval for operation, management and development of Jaipur, Lucknow, Thiruvananthapuram, Guwahati, Ahmedabad and Mangaluru airports on public-private partnership model. The Cabinet approved amendment to the Central Universities Act 2009 for setting up of Central Tribal University in Andhra Pradesh. It also gave in-principle approval for sale of enemy shares under the custody of Ministry of Home Affairs, custodian of enemy property of India, and the Cabinet approved signing and ratifying the extradition agreement between India and Morocco, which will provide a legal base for the extradition of fugitive offenders accused of economic offences, terrorism and other serious offences.
There are clearly 4 reform measures taken to strengthen infrastructure, to strengthen economy. The first is disinvestment of Dredging Corporation of India. The second is 6 airport. The third is enemy property shares. And the fourth is inviting foreign oil companies to help India's strategic oil reserves by investment.
And just a day before Prime Minister Narendra Modi is expected to visit Chhattisgarh for an election rally, at least 5 people, including a security personnel, were killed after Maoists triggered an explosion in Dantewada district on Thursday. A soldier of the CISF and 4 civilians were killed when an improvised explosive device tore through a bus. 2 others were injured. The civilians killed in the blast included the bus driver, conductor and cleaner. The explosion took place in a hilly area of Bacheli in Dantewada when the personnel were returning to their camp after purchasing groceries from the market. The bus, which was targeted, was allotted to the CISF team deployed in the mining area. Assembly elections are scheduled to be held in Chhattisgarh next week in 2 phases on November 12th and November 20th.
CISF की एक कंपनी है जो चुनाव कराने के लिए आई थी और आज आकाशनगर से ये निकली थी एडम के लिए। बचेली से अपने राशन वगैरह लेके वापस जा रहे थे तो जो मिनी बस जो इनको हायर करके दी गई थी उसके ड्राइवर, कंडक्टर, हेल्पर और उसके अलावा CISF का एक जवान उसमें शहीद हुआ है और घायलों को अस्पताल पहुंचाया गया है।
Naxals are going to hamper the election process and will successfully conduct the election duties. लेकिन हम लोग पूरी तरह तैयार है, सारी फोर्सेज पूरी तरह तैयार है और आईडी ब्लास्ट एक ऐसी चीज़ है कि जिसका कोई जो है वो निश्चितता के साथ नहीं कहा जा सकता, तो वो सामने आता है तो उसके लिए आगे हम लोग सारे प्रिकॉशंस इस घटना के बाद लेने के लिए तैयारी कर रहे हैं और सबको और सजग और जागरूक किया गया है।
And now all the election news in Battleground 2018. The BJP released its 3rd list of candidates for the upcoming Madhya Pradesh Assembly elections on Thursday. The party has so far announced 224 names, and names of candidates for 6 seats are yet to be declared. Meanwhile, the Congress also released its 5th list of 16 candidates, taking the total number of declared candidatures to 229. Tomorrow is the last day of filing of the nominations. Polling for 230 seats of Madhya Pradesh Assembly elections will be held on 28th of this month. In Madhya Pradesh, the filing of nominations for the assembly elections will end tomorrow. A total of 593 nominations have been filed so far for the November 20th elections. The BJP has announced 192 candidates so far. The Congress has released its 4th list of 29 candidates for Madhya Pradesh Assembly polls, taking the total number of declared candidatures to 213. The Congress announced its first list of 155 candidates on November 3rd, in which it renominated 46 MLAs. A day after, it announced the second list of 16 candidates. On Monday night, the Congress announced a 3rd list of 13 candidates. The announcement for the remaining 17 candidates is awaited. In the current assembly, the Congress has 57 MLAs. The Congress has been out of power in Madhya Pradesh since 2003. The incumbent Bharatiya Janata Party government is seeking a 4th straight term. Single-phase polling is due in the state on November 28th. And the Election Commission has asked the Odisha government to seal its border with the poll-bound Chhattisgarh. The assembly elections in Chhattisgarh will be held in 2 phases on 12th and 20th of November. The state government has also asked the authorities of 8 Odisha districts bordering Chhattisgarh to go for frisking in border areas and keep an eye on the movement of Maoists and people carrying liquor, cash and other materials. And now the news from the national capital. Delhi recorded its worst air quality of the year the morning after Diwali as Delhiites defied Supreme Court's order of bursting crackers in set time frame. The pollution level entered severe plus emergency category and residents woke up to a thick haze. The overall air quality index jumped to 574, which falls in the severe plus emergency category. Rampant burning of firecrackers has led to the formation of smoky layer across the national capital and has drastically reduced visibility. The Supreme Court has allowed people to burst firecrackers from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. only on Diwali and other festivals. But despite the order, certain places recorded violations where firecrackers were burnt before and after the set time frame. And 562 cases were registered under the Section 188 IPC against violators in general. Legal action was taken against 24 violating juveniles under the provision of the Juvenile Justice Act for not abiding by the Honorable Supreme Court's directions. Besides, 72 cases were also registered under the provisions of Explosive Act and 87 persons arrested for illegal sale of firecrackers. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu will leave on a state visit to France on Friday to take part in the centenary celebrations to the First World War in Paris. He will attend the opening ceremony of the Paris Peace Forum. The event is being attended by about 50 heads of the state or the government of the culminating ceremony on November 11th. On the first day of his visit, he is slated to address the Indian diaspora at a reception hosted by the ambassador. On November 10th, he will unveil the Indian Armed Forces Memorial. On November 11th, Vice President Naidu is slated to attend a ceremony to commemorate the armistice of First World War presided over by French President Emmanuel Macron. He would return to New Delhi on Monday morning. Indians settled abroad also contributed to the freedom struggle of many countries. One such Indian was Kantibai Govardhanbhai Patel, who played a key role in Zimbabwe's independence movement. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu visited National Heroes Acre in recent African tour and paid tributes to the martyrs of Zimbabwe Liberation War. Vice President described Patel as a true patriot.
Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu visited National Heroes Acre, a national monument in Zimbabwe's capital Harare, in his visit to the nation last week. The 57-acre site is on a ridge 7 kilometers from Harare towards Norton. It honors tens of thousands of national heroes who sacrificed their lives to free Zimbabwe. Among the heroes are an Indian origin revolutionary, Kantibai Govardhanbhai Patel. Patel contributed immensely in Zimbabwe's War of Liberation. Patel was born on October 28, 1928, in Dharmaj town of Gujarat to a peasant family. He did his primary and secondary education at Dharmaj and a Bachelor of Arts at the University of Bombay. He came to Zimbabwe in 1961 and became involved in liberation activities. He first joined Zimbabwe African People's Union and later Zimbabwe African National Union Patriotic Front. Patel was elected to ZANU PF Politburo in 2004 and held a number of parliamentary offices as well.
Sri Kantibai Govardhanbhai Patel, who migrated here in 1961, settled here, made a humble beginning as a small trader, but expanded his activity. Later, on seeing the colonial oppression, he joined the movement and then he became an active participant. They told me, the foreign minister told me, that he not only gave shelter to the underground guerrillas during the struggle, but also gave them information and also financial assistance as and when required. And they have erected a memorial for him with his photo, and I was there to visit the tomb and then offer tribute.
In 1980, the country gained official independence as Zimbabwe. Earlier it was known as Rhodesia. In 1985, President Mugabe, then Prime Minister, appointed him senator and 5 years later a non-constituency member of parliament. In 2005, he was appointed to the Senate. After Patel's death in 2011, the government of Zimbabwe built his tomb in Heroes Acres in 2012. Panchanan Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Some more international developments. US President Donald Trump has praised what he called the tremendous success for his party, Republican Party, in the midterm elections. After a night of mixed results, the Democrats won the House of Representatives that will enable them to thwart the president's agenda. But the Republicans consolidated their grip on the Senate, ensuring that he can still make key appointments. Trump said the outcome defied history as the ruling party does not usually gain seats in the midterms. At a news conference on Wednesday, Trump proposed that both Democrats and Republicans can work together on joint legislative priorities. But statements by Democratic Party leaders indicated they could make it tough for President Trump, who wants major legislative changes on some of his signature issues, including migration, tax and healthcare reforms. In the House of Representatives, the Democrats seized at least 28 seats from Republicans' hands, enough for a majority in the 435-member chamber. In the outgoing House, the Republicans had 235 seats, while the Democrats 193. The new House will come into beginning next January. However, the ruling Republican Party retained its majority in the 100-member Senate, where it currently has a razor-thin majority of 51-49 seats. 35 of the 100 Senate seats went to polls. And for more on this, we'll go across to Mr. Prabhu Dayal, former ambassador. Sir, thank you so much for visiting our studio. Sir, US President Donald Trump has called the midterm results a tremendous success. Now, how will the results play out for the remainder of his term?
Well, you're right in saying that he has termed the midterm elections as a victory for his policies because the Republicans retain control over the Senate. And at the same time, he has bragged about the fact that the candidates for whom he campaigned won handsomely, while those Republicans who kept a distance from him lost. Now, how will this play out for the remainder of his term? These elections were called the midterm elections because they come midway during his presidency. The important thing is that for the first time since 2010, the Democrats have gained control over the House of Representatives. And they are not going to make things easy for him. Although he has held out an olive branch and said that he would like to work with the Democrats, the indications are that they will launch an investigation into his campaign. They might ask for his long withheld tax returns. And as things progress, they might even call for his impeachment. So the Democrats will make things as difficult as possible for him. So in the remaining 2 years, I think his focus will be more on domestic politics than it has been till now. And he will therefore focus less on the outside world. That is how I tend to see things as they stand at the moment.
And will this bring a deadlock in the US politics with one chamber blocking the other?
Well, the gridlock is very likely because, as you said, one party will be controlling the Senate while the other will be controlling the House of Representatives. So there will be a tendency not to work together when it comes to approving financing for government programs. And we might see more shutdowns, which always happens when there is a lack of financing. So I think, yes, there could be a gridlock from time to time.
And Mr. Dayal, talking about the Republican Party now in particular, how will they use this midterm gains to rest the political agenda for the next 2 years and beyond?
Well, for one thing, Trump now feels more securely in control of the Republican Party because, as I pointed out earlier, the candidates who kept a distance from him lost in the elections to the House of Representatives. So the indications are that the Republican Party will more strongly back his agenda, the policies which he has been advocating. So we will see more Trumpism in the Republican Party's agenda than we did till now.
And what other interesting fact which we got to see in these midterm elections is that women candidates, female candidates, they have fared particularly well in the election cycle that has been, and which has now been billed as the year of the woman. Will it be a definitive trend for the future as well?
Well, I think to some extent, the success of women candidates was because of the growing disenchantment of the female population in the United States with Mr. Donald Trump. It is equally interesting, if I may point out, that the Samosa Congress, the Samosa Caucus, which comprises the Indian Americans, was able to hold its strength, and at the same time, Indian Americans did well in many other elections which took place simultaneously. So I think these two trends were quite interesting, and it remains to be seen how they will play out in the future months and future elections which will take place in the United States. But as things stand, yes, the increase in the number of women members in the Congress does point towards some very interesting trends within the United States.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dayal, for joining us on that development from the US midterm elections, where the US President Donald Trump has praised the Republican Party as a tremendous success for his Republican Party in the elections. And moving on to some other developments, a gunman killed 12 people, including a police officer, when he opened fire in a country music bar packed with college students in California. According to the police, the gunman was found dead inside the bar on the outskirts of Los Angeles, although it was not immediately clear if he was killed by officers or shot himself. The sheriff, Geoff Dean, said that the motive of the shooting and the identity of the shooter were not known. It was the second mass shooting in America in less than 2 weeks. Witnesses said that the gunman, who was wearing a black trench coat, threw several smoke grenades inside the Borderline Bar and Grill before he started shooting at around 11:20 p.m. on Wednesday night. And now the news from Afghanistan, where at least 13 policemen were killed in the latest Taliban attacks in central and eastern region. The insurgents attacked a police outpost in Khwangyani district, killing 8 policemen, including a district commander. The police said that Taliban also attacked a police outpost in central Wardak province, killing 5 policemen. 3 policemen were injured. Earlier, Afghan forces killed 16 Taliban and injured 19 others while evicting them from several villages in Baghlan province. Police said that security forces recaptured several villages, including the main base of Taliban rebels, over the past 4 days. And now the sports news. In badminton, PV Sindhu and Kidambi Srikanth have advanced to the quarterfinals of the China Open in their respective singles category. In Fuzhou today, Sindhu stamped her authority with a win over Thailand's Busanan in the second round. Sindhu will face China's He Bingjiao tomorrow. Srikanth will face Chinese Taipei's Cho Tin-Chin, who won a silver medal at Jakarta Asian Games this year. Srikanth had won the China Open in 2014. Indian men's double pairs of Chirag Shetty and Satvik Sairaj Rankireddy also entered the second round with a stunning win in a 53-minute hard-fought clash. And that's all we have for you in this edition of News Tonight. For more news and updates, keep watching Rajya Sabha television. Namaskar.